Oh, it's already been brought. Hey gang, Jeff Stone here with day 41 of the year 2016 at MagicReviewed.com. Bring It by Will Fern. You get not one, not two, three DVDs for $50, $49.95. So, what do you get? Well, let's remember my four metrics, or whatnot. Or excuse me, the proper way to say whatnot is whatnot. That's my Hank Hill impression. Anyway, so you get, we always talk about effect, method, ad copy, and, product quality. So effect, there's a bunch of effects. Basically, you're getting some relatively standard card effects, relatively standard coin effects, a bill and fruit routine, sponge money routine, and a few other little bonuses in there. But when I say relatively standard, don't be thrown off by that. These are standard in plot, but not standard in presentation, and not standard in some of the methods. I mean, the methods are standard methods, but Will Fern has this, a knack or something, and about that he's able to bring just that little extra something. It feels a lot like the John Gustafaro concept of 1 degree. Will Fern has brought that 1 degree to a lot of stuff on this DVD set. And so don't be turned off by standard effects. So let's talk about a couple of them. He has a multiple selections routine, right? Which, if you guys know anything about my likes and dislikes in Magic, I don't like multiple selection routines. However, this particular one, I think many of you might find interesting, which is for each card, it's a superhero themed multiple selection routine, and each of the spectators, he gives them a superpower or a superhero, and he talks a little bit about superheroes and their alter identities and so forth. And just a simple example, I don't think this is ruining anything, but one of the cards chosen, let's say, is a 9 of diamonds. Well, the guy that chose that card is going to be Superman. And so Will Fern finds the 9 of spades, and he says, your card was not the 9 of spades, though. It was a different card. Well, remember, Superman was able to squeeze a lump of coal into a diamond, so he squeezes the 9 of spades, and it turns into the 9 of diamonds. So it's things like that, where each revelation is related to a superhero. The Aquaman card ends up in a glass of water, things like that. And so it adds a nice little, just that something extra that, A, makes it his own and personal for him, but B, it gives it more than just, here's 8 cards that I selected and now I found them. So he's got a great move, which is called the full cut palm, I think, and he used it in multiple effects. And I remember in some of the explanations where he was like, well, we'll cover that multiple palm later, but here I do that, or that full deck palm later, but full deck cut palm or something like that, complete cut palm or something. But anyway, he kept saying, we'll deal with that later, so he wouldn't actually teach it during the descriptions until finally he did teach it later. Well, all the while, when I'm waiting for him to teach it, I'm thinking, man, that just looks hard. And it's invisible, and he's saying he's doing the move, but there's no way, and it's going to be hard. And then he gets to the part where he teaches it, and it's easy. I was able to do it in seconds, literally seconds after seeing him do it, and it's completely invisible. It's a really, really clever way, simple way, to palm a card while you're cutting the deck. It's really, really good. So there's that. There's his sponge money routine, which is nothing that'll blow you away. It's pretty typical sponge money stuff. But again, you get his little touches on how he interacts. And the biggest thing that you'll get out of this DVD set, I think, is the real world experience. And he talks a lot about this, and it comes up in the Sponge Man routine. But he talks a lot about this concept of dealing with multiple, like mixed audiences, where he has an audience of little kids, teenagers, and adults all wrapped in one audience. Maybe like at a family party or a bar mitzvah, those kinds of things, weddings and that type of thing, where he does a lot of those kinds of gigs. And so he talks about how the Sponge Money is sort of this this unifier of these I want to say genres of people, but that's the wrong word. Categories of people, these age groups. The Sponge Money is like the great unifier that brings all these ages together. And there's some just tons and tons and tons, but I'm tangenting from the effects for a minute, but tons and tons and tons of great ideas on how to deal with mixed age group gigs. And there's some really good ideas in there, guys. Really, really good. Simple ones, but I don't want to spoil them. I think that you should pay for these. They're very, very good. But they're the kind of things that he's told some really good stories of cases where he used these, and how it just empowered these kids that were involved, and some really good stories that were very moving stories, that how families were affected by this, how the children were affected by this. And it sounds corny and sappy, but it was very moving and very powerful, and almost emotional. Some really beautiful stuff, guys. So it's very, very powerful things that you will learn from a real working pro that will make a huge difference particularly in mixed age group parties. But yet, all at the same time, he kept sort of generically categorizing his clients that he wants to perform for as, the bank president. And so the point is that, when you go to these mixed group shows, he's like, I can play for the kids, but also the bank president. I can play for the kids and let the stuffed shirts in the room know that they need to hire me for their stuffed shirt executive, corporate retreat or whatever it is, where it's all adults and no kids, even though he's doing an audience that has kids in it. And so it's really good, some real world tips on how to mix and work those audiences and not come across as this, this bum who doesn't have a job, who's just going around showing magic tricks to people and the tricks are for kids kind of attitude, where he's able to play to the kids but still bring the adults in and let them know that, hey, I'm available for your gigs and you need me for your gigs. It's very, very good stuff, man. Really good. So, sorry, that was more product quality there, but than it is effect. But back to the effects. There's a really good coins through table routine, coins across, or it's kind of a coins across. It's a coins across. Both of them require a table. There's some really nice touches again. Now you'll have to use some sort of standard coin gimmicks to do both of those. There's his bill and limit or bill and fruit, which is the bill change that he uses is very deceptive. The load to the fruit is very clean and clear. It's one of the cleanest fruit, money to fruit routines I've ever seen. It's not even midnight yet right now, and I'm really tired. I don't know what's going on, and so I may film this and edit, like quickly edit. It takes me like 5 minutes to edit these things anymore. I'm pretty quick at it now. But it takes forever to render. Like it could be like a half an hour to an hour. So I may render this thing, let it run all night, and post it in the morning, so it'll be late. But anyway, I don't know, man. I'm sorry, I'm a little out of it right now. And normally I'm a night owl, so I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so back to the effects. So he's got a memorized deck routine that he does that is, it's the first time I thought maybe I really do want to put in the time to memorize a deck. He has his own mem deck. He did not teach what that order is. He kind of roughly went over it, but it just comes down to, if you're going to do mem deck work, you always have your own. But in that, he had some really good tips on some of the stuff that requires a little bit of quick calculation in your head to get to certain things to happen. And he is extremely good at, like, I mean, not that this is a trick, but he can do this. Name a card, and like he'll cut right to it. No matter what the card is you name, he will cut, and he'll be within and instantly, without even thinking. 4 diamonds, and he knows instantly where that is in his stack, and he knows how many cards roughly he needs to cut. Well, he knows exactly how many cards he needs to cut to get that card to the top, but he's really good at making that estimate and getting the glimpse to see if he missed the cut or made the cut and how far off he is from the cut. And he has some good tips on some of that stuff. So, and you could tell he's a pro. I mean, the dude did like this 7-phase routine using a mem deck that is pretty intense. That's probably the hardest thing on there. If you already do mem deck work, that'll be pretty easy. But it's got an effect where any named card appears in an envelope that's been sitting on the table the whole time. You get his ambitious card routine, which is less about learning the ambitious card routine and more about learning a couple of the ways he ends it. So on and on and on. On the DVD set, so that's effect. As messy as that was, guys, sorry, that was effect. Methods. There's plenty. There's nothing on there that to me felt like a contrived method that doesn't work in any real environment or anything like that. They are all good methods that are classic methods, that are old methods that work. He's got a lot of work on short card stuff that will fool the heck out of you, I'm guessing. There's a ton of great stuff that he does. There's some stuff, like there's an effect he does where it's completely behind the back. It gives out the deck to be shuffled. They hand it to him, like my hands are behind my back now. They hand me the deck behind my back. I have them select the card behind my back. I then put it back in behind my back, and I give them the deck to shuffle right then. And they shuffle it, and they give it back to me, and then I'm still able to get the card, find the card. Really, really simple trick to do, as impossible as it sounds. So, and it uses a method that's very simple and very common, and that you've probably dismissed or whatever because it's such an old, simple idea. So the methods are good. I would not consider, the majority of this would not consider to be beginners. I would say this is more maybe a beginner who's on the cusp of becoming intermediate. But anybody that's already intermediate or even advanced, I'd say this stuff is for you. So that's a method. Ad copy integrity is fine. So the only thing that bugs me a little bit is look at that picture. He's holding a knife through a card there, and there is no trick with a knife through a card. And so it bugs me a little bit that it seems like, well, that maybe would be a trick on the DVD, like a card stab or something. But that's probably a photo that he uses like in press releases or in just his media and his PR stuff. And so it's probably more, rather than it being deceptive, I mean, this is Black Rabbit. These guys are known for having good quality products and not having deceptive ad copy practices. So my guess is it was just a poor choice of a cover of a photograph for the DVD. It was probably they just picked one out of his portfolio and they used that rather than it being, oh, we're going to make them think that there's a knife stab routine. I don't think it was anything like that. So, but that did bug me a little bit. So other than that, no ad copy issues whatsoever. In fact, go watch the video ad trailer, and if you like that, you're going to love this DVD. If you'll see the kind of stuff that's on there. So last thing, product quality. The filming overall was pretty good, but there were some lighting issues where the cards kind of washed out a little bit from the light. And I don't know what the deal is. It's, again, these Magic Castle videos seem to have a weird little problem like that. And so what you get on the DVD is you get 2 castle shows. They're about 25 minutes each. And then you get 4 strolling sets, basically 4 different tables, and they're each, one's like 14 minutes, the other ones are like just 4 or 5 or 6 minutes long. All 6 of those shows, the 4 strolling and the 2 castle acts, you get to watch them with or without the commentary. And the commentary is good and it had some good tips on it and useful stuff. And there's also an interview with Anthony Asimov. I always want to call him Isaac Asimov. There's an interview, like a 30-minute interview with him, where Anthony's interviewing Will, and there's a lot of great stuff there. On one of the commentaries on the second castle act, the volume of the show was too high, or the volume of Will's voiceover was too low, so it was hard to catch some of that a little bit, but other than that, it was fine. So the teaching, Will Fern, the dude talks like a million miles a minute. He talks super fast. His performances were a little bit hard to watch sometimes because he was talking so fast and like in a rush. And it was like, and then there's one point where he made a comment about coffee or something that's somehow tied into a routine. And he says, "Oh, I don't know because I don't drink coffee." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me, man. You don't drink coffee?" So I don't know what's running through his veins if it's not caffeine, because that guy is wired. So he's just super fast talker, which made it, some of the presentation stuff a little hard to follow and some of the teaching a little hard to follow. Nothing that a little bit of rewinding won't cure. Also, just as a fun little side note, particularly if Mr. Lampkin is watching, Al Lampkin, Will Fern mentions a line that he uses, and he credited Al Lampkin from this book right here. And I've had this book in my collection for years. Never read it. I got it like at a flea market or something, maybe a magic shop that went out of business or something like that a long time ago. And I didn't even know it was by Al Lampkin. It was just sitting on my bookshelf. Al Lampkin is a friend of mine. He's in our local chapter here, the Ring 193. And so I just thought it was kind of fun that they mentioned that book, and he said it's by Al Lampkin. I pull it out, and I'm like, holy crap. It's an Al Lampkin book that I'd forgotten, I guess, that it was Al Lampkin. Anyway, so it was just fun to hear somebody that I know mentioned on the video. There's tons of tips given by Will Fern on here, tons of ideas, tons of little subtleties, nuances. You get 3 PDFs, and one of them is like a little printout prop that you'll use for one of the effects. One of them is a detailed write-up of the superhero multiple selections routine, which he also teaches on the DVD. And one is like this, I don't know, a thesis on sponge bunny magic. That's got a lot of details about that on some theoretical levels, and it's got his routine in there. Just on and on and on, just loaded with lots of really good stuff. The only thing that bugged me on the DVD was his opening routine. It's this beautiful coin routine where he produces 3 coins at his fingertips, and they're like $50 or whatever, and then suddenly they're Chinese coins, and then they start vanishing one at a time, and he never teaches it because it's a Ponta The Smith routine. It's not his to teach. So I was a little bummed about that, because I was like, man, that's some beautiful stuff, and I'd like to know how that worked. And if I'm not a coin guy, so I'd probably never do it, but I was just a little bummed that he didn't teach that. So, have I rambled on long enough? I think I've covered it all. The bottom line is, this is the kind of product that they talk about, that take your magic to the next level. That's such a cliche, but this is that kind of product. This is that kind of product. It's the kind of thing that you'll learn little tips, nuances, insider secrets, as they say, because this guy is a pro. I mean, the guy is a working pro, and he, by the way, is the first to admit that he talks too fast. He mentioned that multiple times in the commentary, that he needs to work on that. He's even said he's taken some speech classes to overcome that. But he's like this fast-talking guy from Jersey, just kind of, he seems like a sort of a New Yorker, kind of just this fast-paced guy that's just casually in your face, if that's a possible thing. Anyway, he's he's fun to watch. And he's just smart, and he's got a lot of clever concepts, clever ideas, cleverly constructed routines. On and on and on. 4.5 stars. Stone status of gem. So that's it. It's time to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and listen to the random iTunes song of the moment, which is... Oh, now this is one of the songs, no pun intended, from U2 that I actually like. It's called One. They have 3 songs I like. One, With or Without You, and All I Want Is You. That's it. Those are the only 3 good songs they made. Sorry, U2 fans. I've just never been a big fan of them. I don't know why. Anyway, that's it for today. Tune in tomorrow, day 42, where I lost. There it is. 42. Big 4 poker. And maybe by the time I do this review, I'll have slept. And things will be more gooder. Or whatever. Yeah. I gotta go. Peace out.